William, look at this lavender and look at these flowers behind us, and the fragrance is gorgeous.
And we have something for all of your senses next on Garden Time.
Welcome to Garden Time. We're at the Rogerson Clematis Collection right at Lusher Farm in Lake Oswego. And later in the show, I'll be talking with Linda Butler about what you can be doing with your clematis at this time of year.
We are also going to be talking about the wonderful lavender festivals that are happening this weekend.
But coming up first, this month's tips with Jan McNeilin. I'm with Jan McNeilin today, and Jan, we come out every month, so what you got this month?
Well, here's the citrus.
I love visiting it every
Yeah,
month.
I know. Here we are visiting it. Yeah, there's a few munchies on the leaves, but so far it looks good, and it's very clean.
No
but
scale?
It's not setting, no scale. It's not setting any blossoms yet. It's been fertilized, so it should at some point. But that's our update for that.
All right.
And then sometimes people get worried about apples dropping, fruit dropping. Called June drop for the most part. Super hot weather can make them drop, but in most cases it's that they're not pollinated, and the ones that drop are the ones that aren't pollinated. So we just cut these open and found there was a seed in one side but there wasn't in the other, and so these are the ones that will drop.
And it's kind of nice because you want to thin it a little bit.
Yeah,
thin the
yeah, you
fruit.
probably need to thin it even more. Yeah, there's one seed in here, but the other one isn't
Right.
a complete seed.
That's
So that's
interesting.
what happens.
Okay, nothing else to do. I mean, it does it naturally, so don't worry.
Yeah. The other thing is I want to sort of emphasize that OSU Extension has an Ask the Expert page. You can go and you can just type in OSU Extension Ask the Expert and you'll get this page. But this is what the page looks like. And you're able to ask your question. You upload 3 different photographs. You can say which county in Oregon you're from, so that east of the Cascades you're going to get that information,
Right.
not just Willamette Valley. And so it's a really good way to ask a question.
That is nice because sometimes we get a lot of questions at the Garden Time website, but if you want to do it both, you'll get more answers to your questions.
Sure.
It's really nice to know someone is out there for you.
Well, you've got a research-based,
Exactly.
unbiased information
Right.
that comes from OSU, so that's a good way. And
And
then
so-
I had a whole bunch of seeds
Yeah, what's going
that I
on?
didn't think were viable because they'd been in the greenhouse all winter and probably froze. And as it turns out, they were fine. So I just played around. These are some little trays that come with a frozen dinner that I get from my husband once in a while, and you can't recycle things like you could, so I repurposed them.
Sure.
So the chard is coming up, 4 o'clock. I don't know if that's what I've got there yet. The
Peas, look at
peas,
that.
I'm going to just
Wow.
go out and put them in the garden.
Definitely.
I've got kale
Kale?
and lettuce and chard and green beans, bush beans, and kale, even some bok choy. And all of that can be planted in the garden at this time of year for fall and winter crops.
It's perfect time too, because sometimes we forget to do that succession planting. So
Yeah.
perfect time to do it in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
And have the fall planting. Well, you know, it's not too late to plant. We heard it here because we always say we can't plant because it's July now.
Yep,
So
no,
you can
we
plant
can.
for fall crop. So
Yep.
that's excellent.
You can.
And if you have any other questions, please go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to that Ask the Expert if you need to get any more answers there. Thanks so much, Jan. See you next month.
All right.
Is your garden getting tired? Don't let your garden fizzle out because of the summer heat. Stop by Wavra Farms for a refresher in summer color. We carry a great selection of plants that love the summer. Give your garden the splash of color that it deserves. Your outdoor entertaining will be more enjoyable when you are surrounded by beautiful plants, wonderful flowers, and great fragrance. Let us show you what a summer garden should be. Wavra Farms, just east of Salem, off Highway 22 at the Joseph Street exit.
2 stages, 25 shows, 1 sweet weekend. It's the 26th annual Oregon Jamboree presented by Boulder Falls Inn, starring Brett Eldredge, Brantley Gilbert, Maren Morris, Low Cash, Jared Neiman, and Diamond them in Rio. One more day. The Oregon Jamboree happening August 3rd through the 5th. Tickets and camping on sale now at OregonJamboree.com.
In the summer months, water use can double or triple due to outdoor watering. Here are 3 simple tips to help save water and money this summer. Set your sprinklers so that they're watering your lawn and plants and not the pavement. Water early in the morning or later in the evening when temperatures are cooler. Group plants with similar water, shade, and sun needs together. For more water conservation information and tips, check out the Regional Water Providers Consortium at www.conserveh2o.org.
It's a beautiful day to be in a beautiful garden, and I'm with the beautiful Linda Bueller.
Oh, thank you.
And Linda, where are we?
We're at the Rogerson Clematis Garden
And you're the curator here, and
of the collection.
You have a plethora of information today. So it's midsummer in a clematis garden. So what's going on with this clematis?
Vole damage.
No.
Yes. One of our biggest problems out here in a big country garden are voles, which are a little creature similar to a mole. They do a shallow tunnel, and you know you've got them when you see these open holes going down into the ground. And so what I'm going to do is step in here and see, I'm already up to my ankles.
Yeah, look at how soft.
Because they have gone around and gone under this plant, and so where they have gone, they have eaten the roots off from this stem, and so this stem has collapsed, and this one probably too.
So what can we do to kind of help prevent that?
We use a product called Mole Max. So if you don't have a cat and you don't have birds of prey coming in and feeding on these things, you can use Mole Max, which is pelleted castor oil. So think about being a child and how it stinks and it tastes bad, and imagine digging through soil that stinks and is oily. And so what we do is use a bar spoon, and we just get them on Amazon. They're really cheap, but they're 11 inches long. So this time of year, because we don't have rain consistently to wash it in, we which in April, we would just broadcast it.
Okay.
Like you would broadcast a weed and feed. You know, we just use that kind of contraption. But now we take the bar spoons, we put a couple teaspoons down in the hole, and then we take a watering can and just glug it down in there so that we're literally herding them away.
Chasing them away.
Yeah, it's not going to kill them. It just makes the soil so repellent to them that they go somewhere else to dig. So we basically herd them out of the garden.
That is really interesting. It's a great way to do it and get rid of them and protect your plants.
And it's organic.
Definitely, definitely. We're going to go to another part of the garden and do some summer pruning. So let's go over there now.
Okay.
Linda, this is a beautiful one, and the seed heads are really pretty too.
Right, and in the autumn, they turn a wonderful rusty gold color,
Ooh.
but it's July. And it's early July.
It is.
And so Bastille Day, you know, drink some champagne and come out into the garden and do your midsummer pruning.
Oh.
And people don't think of
Not
pruning
at all.
clematis this time of year, but this plant, this is Clematis manchurica, a species from Manchuria, as luck would have it, is not a climber, but it's a really good rebloomer. And in fact, in Japan, they use this as a cut flower.
Oh, it'd be
They
beautiful.
use it as a filler, and it is lightly fragrant. So we're going to go in all the way down to the base of the plant.
Yeah, nobody does that. That's amazing. You're a professional, so telling us this great tip.
Yeah. So
And just pull it all
then
out.
just pull it all out, and it's not hanging on. It's not a climber. It's one of the perennial forms, and so just toss that out of the
All
way.
right.
And so we can clean it up. It will come back, and by the 1st of September and through the fall, it will be back in bloom, and you'll get those lovely fall-colored seed heads that this plant produces.
So take it all the way down to the bottom.
Right.
All right.
And then, once you've done that, you want to show it a little love by way of apology, and we use organic rose and flower food.
Okay.
There are a ton of different brands. On all of them, the NPK numbers are below 10, and they're all about the same. So I'm not going to plug any one variety here, but we take a scant handful and just sprinkle it around, not on the plant, but around the crown, and then we'll scratch it in and water it in. And usually in 30 days or so, the plant is back in bloom, and it won't get as big and floppy the second time, but you get double duty out of these plants.
So all this information, I have a problem, I want to know more information. How can I get some answers?
info@RogersonClematisCollection.org. Send us a picture if you need plant ID. The Comtesse de Bouchot, the clematis that was looking so sad before, you might think that's clematis wilt if you didn't know better. If it was, it would take the whole plant out.
Sure.
And then also on our website, which is www.RogersonClematisCollection.org, you can check for classes.
Oh,
and
wonderful.
we offer classes year-round about all things clematis.
Well, it's a beautiful place to come. You can learn so much too. So go to gardentime.tv, we'll go over to their website, but come out to this garden, you have a lovely time. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Garden Time is brought to you by Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
Do you want to be green? Do the easy stuff first. Hi, I'm Sarah from Portland Nursery. The U.S. House Energy and Commerce Committee says for every $1 spent on a shade tree, you can save $5 on cooling, blocking the penetrating heat in the summer and allowing the warm rays through in the winter. Dollar for dollar, there's no better energy and money saver than a good, deciduous shade tree. Portland Nursery's professionals can help you make the perfect selection. Portland Nursery, a passion for plants, a nursery for plant people.
Let's talk kitchens. Let's talk dreams. Let's talk KitchenAid. Let's talk savings. Big savings. Save up to $1,600 when you purchase a qualifying KitchenAid kitchen package. Let's talk selection. Let's talk service. Let's talk know-how. Standard TV and appliance, setting the standard since 1947. Let's talk.
Welcome to Blooming Junction, where it's easy to connect with nature. At Blooming Junction, you'll find beautiful, healthy plants, good, fresh food, and a place to regain peace and calm in your life. We have an unsurpassed collection of unique and distinctive plants and the expertise to help any gardener be successful. And we feature Blooming Advantage plants. Come check out Blooming Junction for an inspiring experience in the garden or in the kitchen. Blooming Junction, offering quality plants for beautiful gardens.
Well, you know, I have to say one of the many things I love in a garden is lavender, so it's a delight for me to be here with Chris from Barn Owl Nursery, and we are going to be talking about lavender in the garden and some information about it. So let's start with this, which to me right now looks absolutely beautiful. Which variety is this?
And this is English lavender, or Lavandula angustifolia
Okay.
imperial gem.
Wow.
And it's one of the darkest ones.
So I have to hit it right away though. Looking down on this, I clearly see some space that's empty.
Yes.
Because if you grow it for a while, it seems like almost all lavenders tend to flop. But you tend to think that's a pruning issue if we pay attention.
I think that if you start early and you prune often, at least hard once a year,
Right.
that you can take it down to a third of the way and it leave about 3 sets of leaves and encourage new growth on that woody base, and then actually have lavenders that will look better in your garden.
Well, and this is proof. This was out
Yes.
in your fields that you're growing for testing and stuff and blooms. This was one of them, and when I saw this I went, wow, that's a lot of cut off. So how would you cut this when you were pruning out there?
Well, you still want to leave some green,
Uh-huh.
but if you see new growth even further down the base, you can force that if you cut off all the flowers and into the foliage, and then water it well and maybe add a little fertilizer, and that will encourage that green growth at the base to fill in that woody area.
Well, Chris, because I am a man who loves pictures to see what you're talking about, we're going to take a walk over to another stand that you have that actually shows
Yes.
where that's growing down there. Okay, Chris, now we're in another part of this charming display garden you have of these plants. And tell me first of all the name of this whitish one.
This is English lavender, Lavandula angustifolia opal rain, developed in Oregon.
Beautiful. Now, this is the one I was talking about. Down here, you can clearly see that they're growing down deep in the wooded area.
Yes, and you could cut down all the way to the woody base
Wow.
where that new growth starts and force it to fill in.
And what time of year would you do that?
I think spring would probably be the best time.
Because you would know if it's growing
Exactly.
at springtime. Okay.
Exactly.
And then that would not deter it from blooming that year then, or would it?
Yes, it probably would.
Okay.
So I would have to be very careful since I'm let this bloom, I probably would not do this till next spring.
Till next spring. But then again, you get a much denser, much more full-looking
Yes.
shrub for the following years.
Yes.
Wonderful. Now there is one more place that I want to take us. We're going to go over and look at a beautiful garden of all kinds of types of lavender. Okay, Chris, now we are standing in a beautiful kind of little display of lavender. Tell me where this all came from.
But my idea was to have lavender collector's garden, to have different varieties of English lavender and French varieties as well that bloom at different times and different growth habits, and also to attract pollinators. So this particular plant is a good example of where it's splitting open. It's heavy with flowers right now. And this is English lavender, or Lavandula angustifolia super blue. And it's a beautiful blue, dark blue flower. What I don't like about it is it has split open because it's heavy with flowers, but also because of overhead watering and the rain that we just had. So what I'll want to do later, as we talked about, is prune heavily to get this to spring back to shape after I harvest the flowers.
Because there are things like that that are going to occur with a lot of different lavenders,
Yes.
and you just want people to know that there is a way to really solve the problem and have still full, beautiful lavenders year after year after year.
Absolutely.
And then there's also a wonderful event happening. Tell me about that.
Yes, our Oregon Lavender Farm Tour is always the second weekend of July, and we have members of the Oregon Lavender Association that open up their farms and have all kinds of activities and show people how to grow lavender in gardens and in the field, and have lots of beautiful products to offer. And it's an opportunity for people to visit their farm.
Right. And see
And
them
see
from
all of
all
that.
over Oregon. And then also tell me, you have a great thing that we're going to put on our website about lavender and sizes and stuff. Give me a brief description of that.
Yes, what I did was, there are so many varieties of lavender, and it's so difficult to decide what you might want to grow or what will fit in your garden. So what I did was take that list of the English lavenders, the French varieties, and some of the others, and break it down into color of the flower and into the sizes and their particular quality that they might have, whether they produce oil or...
Delightful. Well, there you have it. Now listen, if you would love to go on this lavender tour, you can go to gardentime.tv. We can click you over to that website. Or if you would love to come out to this wonderful nursery, and they also have a tremendous gift shop here too. It's absolutely adorable. So if you want information on that, go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to her website. I cannot tell you how delightful this has been. Thank you so much, Chris.
Appreciate it.
Well, I am delighted to be standing in a garden who has a new structure called, and it's built from the wall. Well, it's called a wall, but it's built by the wall. And Marietta actually is going to tell us about what was here before this wall and why she so desperately thought it was good to have one. So what was the situation before?
Well, it's sloped from where the bark starts down to the street, and it was really hard to mow when my husband's legs were giving out, so we decided we'd build a wall.
You had to do something with it.
Yes.
So it literally was, because that's not a big expanse from where the bark just is now down, so it was a really steep slope.
Yes.
And
I couldn't walk up it without
a little help.
Yeah.
So tell me though, how did you consider going to the wall? What brought that up to you?
We went to a home and garden show, and they were there, and I got some brochures from several people, and I like the idea of using used concrete.
Right.
And
this wall is made of that, isn't it? It's actually used
yes,
concrete that they put in and built this beautiful wall.
Yes, and to me it makes it look ancient.
And you love it, don't you?
Yes, I
Well,
do. And had lots of compliments.
Wonderful. Well, now I'm actually going to go over on this side and I'm going to talk to Dave. And you actually built this wall. You're one of the ones that put it in.
Thank you.
So give me some information on what is the process when you get to a place, you see a deep slope like that.
Right.
What goes through your head to, no, I've got to do this first?
First thing I want to do is talk to someone like Marietta, figure out exactly what it is she's looking for functionality and both for functionality and aesthetics.
Right.
Now, she mentioned she had a big slope leading from her front yard down to the sidewalk itself. Mowing that and trip hazards can be an issue. So what I want to do is flatten all this out for her so she has a much more functional and safe front yard for herself.
And then when you say flatten it out, in my mind, I would think, well, then you got to bulldoze stuff back. But that's not how it worked, is it?
Not necessarily. I mean, we did use some equipment on this project just to cut back a little ways. We had to have a certain distance from the sidewalk to the face of the wall itself, which is a common case in Portland.
Right.
So we dug it back, left a little bit of excess behind the wall so that when the wall is completed, we can push it forward and backfill.
And then in the process, though, I mean, because from the front, it looks like it's just this perfectly wall that's about, 4 inches, 5 inches deep, but that's not the case.
Not the case. So what this is, it's a mass gravity wall. So however tall the wall is, you need to be at least half that in depth at the base of it.
Really?
So down here, if it's about 2.5 feet tall, you need to be at least 1 foot thick at the base.
Wow.
And a mass gravity wall will retain the weight behind it based on its own weight itself. So you incorporate that with the wheat poles. That allows for drainage, so you don't get the hydrostatic pressure behind the wall to cause for blowouts.
And then when you get the concrete that you're going to use for this, do you saw it and stuff? I mean, how do you get it all?
No
fit so
sawing.
well?
We do it old school, just hammers and chisels.
Wow.
Shape it together, make it look right.
And then when you're done and they're happy, you know you've done the job well, don't you?
As long as they're happy, I'm happy.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So, Marietta, are you happy?
Yes, I am.
Well, there you have it, folks. Now, if you're saying, I want to do something like this, and let me ask Dave one more question.
Yes.
It's not just walls, though, that you do.
Oh, no. We started off with the recycled concrete walls. That was our claim to fame about 33 years ago, if I remember right. Beyond that, we've expanded a lot.
Perfect.
Anything, just about anything with stone or concrete. We do flat work, city sidewalks, pavers, stonework.
Fireplaces.
Fireplaces
you build those,
even.
Yeah.
I have a fire pit in my backyard that I had the privilege of building, but we also do that for customers as well, even chimneys in the backyard for more elaborate fire schemes in the backyard. Grill stations.
Well, there you have it. If you're thinking to yourself, I love my home, I kind of love my garden, but there's some things that need to be done in it, I would suggest you go to gardentime.tv. We'll kick you over to their website. You can call someone out, have a conversation with them, and see if you can get something beautiful built around your house just like this wall. Thank you, Marietta. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Garden Time is brought to you by Capital Subaru, your way on the Parkway.
They had to take the car, they had to get it open with the jaws of life, take me out on a backboard, took me to a Trauma One center. I absolutely feel like the Subaru saved my life.
Well, we trust Capital. We trust our salesperson here, Jackie.
Jackie's great. I believe that she really cares about us.
She teaches me about the Subaru.
Our way on the Parkway.
Stop and smell a rose, hear a child laugh, see the beauty that is Oregon. You will find all this and more at the Oregon Garden in historic Silverton. 400-year-old oaks, edible landscapes, a children's garden. The Oregon Garden has something for everyone. You can ensure the garden remains a jewel in the Mid-Willamette Valley through your support as an individual, family, or corporate member. Support the garden that showcases the diverse botanical beauty of our state, the Oregon Garden.
So I'm standing here with Wayne at Little Baja, and Wayne, we are celebrating here today with you because 32 years in business, that's a long time.
That is.
So tell me a little bit about the history.
I went to a Mexican fair downtown one time. I was looking for something to bring up from Mexico. We tried a lot of different products and then just happened to stumble into pottery and brought up a few pieces, and everybody liked it, so we just kept bringing up more and more and more.
And I have to say, one of the things that I don't think a lot of people realize about you and the time you've done this is you have really concentrated on the quality of Mexican pottery, the real Mexican pottery that you sell, not the stuff you can get in box stores and things like that. Tell me the difference.
Well, the difference between the clay that we sell and the terracotta planters that you might find at a box store is that ours are made by small families. The box stores require a lot more volume, and they buy from big factories, and factories put mud in their clay to cut their costs.
Right.
And there's no mud in our clay.
And one of the things that you know this is accurate on is because you really have worked very hard over the last 3 decades creating relationships with the people that are making the products you sell. You know these families.
I know these families, and they're all related by one way or another, and enjoy a really good relationship with them.
And then you can really speak now of the selection that you have and know that it's all great quality. So tell me a little bit, because you have so many items here.
Well, you know, not each family has a different set of molds they make, so I buy some pots from one family, and I buy the chimeneas from another family, and buy the sun faces from another family, and they're all blood related one way or the other.
And one of the things that I got to mention the piñatas too, because you get that from a specific family as well. Those come from there.
We get that from a family that migrated to Tijuana from Michoacan, and the father was a genius artist, and he passed that art on to his children, and now we buy from the children.
So Wayne, although you have a wonderful selection of terracotta, you also have expanded into statuary, fountains, and concrete.
Right. Well, we got introduced to it in about 1997 and discovered that there's a large selection of people that like to buy concrete statuary and look for fountains and bird baths, and so we try to carry enough selection of that you know, to help.
Right.
Satisfy
And you
the
know,
market.
too, you really believe in the terracotta though, because you have a great guarantee on it.
We guarantee all of our planters, if you're not happy with it for any reason, bring it back and I'll replace it.
Well, there you have it. So tell me, you know, I think that 32 years is really unique. That's a wonderful amount of time for a business to be doing as well as you have done. So, you know, for more information on this great location, you can go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to Little Baja's website, find out when their hours are, come out and celebrate 32 years with them by taking home a beautiful piece of terracotta. Thank you so much, my friend.
All right. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you for watching today, and if you do have time, please come up to the Lusher Farm Rogerson Clematis collection. It is just alive with blooms this time of year.
And if you have any questions about today's show, we will invite you to go to gardentime.tv.
William and I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week here on Garden Time.
$1,112, $1,113.
William, what are you counting?
I'm counting all of our wonderful friends on Facebook.
And we invite everyone to go to Facebook and like us and follow us.
All you have to do is go to gardentime.tv and hit the Facebook icon, which is in the top right-hand corner.
It's the best place to get the most updated information on Garden Time.
So all you have to do is click us and like us.
The proceeding was a paid program of the Guston Creative Group and its sponsors.